Hello everybody, my name is Tex and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over one of the new Beyond Light exotic armor pieces, so let's cut straight to the chase. The exotic for today is Precious Scars. Its exotic perk reads, Kintsugi. After reviving or being revived, you gain an aura that provides overshields to you and nearby allies. And before we actually get into this thing, I just gotta say, this exotic is pretty ugly. It does not really look good on pretty much any character. But getting actually straight into it, in Crucible, at least, is where we can measure the overshield. And shooting it a few times with Steel Feather Repeater gives you about 100 HP on the overshield, which is pretty beefy actually. It's a little bit stronger than a few other overshields in the game, but not so much like Armor Blight. As you guys can see here, it actually lets you tank an entire extra shot from an aggressive hand cannon, which is quite a bit of extra health. It'll help you survive some primary duels quite consistently if you can get the stuff up. But here we can test the range on the radius so that you can affect your teammates. And using Darcy, we can see it's about 15 meters. That's how far you can give the overshield to your teammates, but it does move with you, so keep that in mind. And one last little preliminary test. Rezzing multiple targets does not extend the timer, and it does not increase the potency of the overshield. All it does is lets you shield more people that you just rezzed. And we can see it from the other perspective here. Something that might surprise you, you can actually tank a shot from Felwinter's Lie. The first shot, she actually missed a little bit, so that's why it did 181, but you can actually tank that, which is pretty good. And the last thing to test is if the overshield regenerates, because some don't. And luckily this one does, so that's another +1 for this exotic, I guess. And that said, let's finally get into seeing what we can actually tank in PvP. And the answer is not a whole lot. Adored is going to one-shot you every single time. It literally does not matter what your resilience level is. As you can see from this clip, it does 360 or so damage, which is no resilience level is going to have 60 extra health above 200. So what you can see here is we're testing 140 RPM snipers, and actually you can tank a headshot off your res if you are 7 resilience or more. So at 6 resilience, you're gonna die every single time. It doesn't matter. But at 7, you will tank it with about 2 health left, I believe. It's not a whole lot. The next thing we tested is tube launchers, the breach launchers, the one-shot and the mag launchers, whatever you want to call them. And you can tank from that every single time. It doesn't matter if it's Mountaintop or if it's Truth Teller or Orwing's Maul. Every single time you're going to take that and you're going to eat it, which is nice to see. But Mountaintop is sunset anyways, so it's not really going to matter in very many scenarios. And as you guys were able to see earlier, this is the biggest one. You can tank a Felwinter's Lie shot to the head. Granted, it leaves you with practically no health, but you can tank a Felwinter's Lie shot. It happens every single time. We couldn't get it to do more than 273 damage or 275 damage in that range. But that said, here's my final thoughts. The exotic kind of sucks. It's D tier at best, I'd say, in PvE or PvP. And that's because of 2 big factors. First off, it requires either you or your teammate to die. That's never going to be good for an exotic. If you have to be actively being bad at the game to be able to get your exotic to work, that's not good in general, like period. Any exotic that requires death is not good, including something like Stag. The other one is the timer. When you do get a res off, you have a overshield for a grand total of 8 seconds. That is, in PvP, that can be like you might be able to get 1 gunfight off and it die halfway through your gunfight. But in PvE, that's a pitiful amount of time. You'll see here in a second, but I purposely kill myself so that my teammate can res me and give me a little bit of extra health for the next gunfight, because you know we're in a strike, we're chilling in the lowest level of the ordeal. And I was like, hey, may as well get some mileage out of this exotic, right? So I have him res me before this wave of ads comes, and we don't even get to the top of the staircase before the timer goes out. 8 seconds is not nearly enough. And this exotic is next to useless. I would put it down with like Kepri's Horn and Aeon Swift and Safe and the Aeon stuff. It's just bad. It's not good in general. You can, sure, in PvP you can tank a Fellwinter's Lie Shot, but all they have to do is follow up with a melee and you die anyways. Which is like people are gonna pretty much do that all the time anyways. And of course it requires you to be dead or your teammate to be dead, and it's just not fantastic in general. The exotic as a whole kind of just sucks. It's like the neglected stepchild out of all of the new 6 armor exotics, because all the new 6 armor exotics are pretty good except for this one. Even Arthrus's Embrace, the throwing knife one, is good for like solo content. You can solo stagger unstoppable champions with it, and in PvP you can one-shot body with throwing knives, and the throwing knives get extra aim assist, and that is more useful than having to die to get a res shield that lasts for a grand total of 8 seconds. I would not recommend using this thing. If you want to get it, I would only recommend getting it to be able to have in your collections to get the badge, because after this video I don't think I'm ever going to be putting on this exotic again unless it gets some sort of significant buff. That's it for me. That's my opinion. If anyone, feel free to disagree in the comments if you want to, but I don't think anyone will after seeing just how bad this exotic is. But yeah, please make sure to like, subscribe, whatever, all that jazz. My subscriber count pretty much doubled after the last video over the course of like 3 days, which is insane. Thank you for the support, everyone that subscribed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.